Hi, this is Jeffrey Curve Financial Group. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Back from a long weekend for Martin Luther King Day, for the markets being closed yesterday. We got a lot going on. But let's look back at last week. The major averages were largely down. Not a lot, but they were lower. Dow and S&P down about 1/3%. NASDAQ down 2/3%, but the Russell, as it's been doing all of 2026, outperforming up over 2% for the week, up almost 8% year to date. And we have the other numbers here on the table for you to take a look at. Now, what else is going on? Obviously, the trade tensions with tariffs and Greenland and all that. So the markets are down a lot this morning. And I think a couple of things that I think about and I've read that I think are interesting here. Now, again, this is part of the risk of the market, and maybe this is a sign that we're going to go a lot lower. There are some, I think, metrics and indicators that say we could slide, I got a 3, 4, 5% lower from here. And that's kind of an algorithmic, method of like that. But, also we can stabilize and then perhaps rebound. But I think on the news flow, a couple of interesting things to think about. President Trump does the tariffs thing via Greenland on Saturday. We know we have a weekend and a long weekend with a holiday for the markets. That gives ample opportunity for everyone to digest it, and also for him to walk things back, or for the tensions to go a little bit lower. And also, I think another important thing to think about is he's speaking in Davos. President Trump will be at Davos speaking, I think, tomorrow, and that's a perfect platform and opportunity to kind of walk things back. Now, whether he does or not, I don't know. Maybe even heightens things and the markets go a lot lower. But I think there's a setup here that we've seen in the past where everybody overreacts. Things kind of decline in terms of anxiety and pressure, and then the markets rebound. Again, that's not a prediction, but just an observation that it could happen, and that setup is here. So, but on the other hand, on developments, we have a lot of earnings this week. There's some, economic stuff. There's the PCE, Personal Consumption Index, price index of that, which is a favored inflation index that the Fed looks at. That's coming out, predicted to be 2.8%, getting below 3% on that thing. Again, a lot of earnings. Intel's out there. GE's out there, some energy stocks, Travelers, Johnson & Johnson, and a lot of other companies. But again, I think that the thing is, the Greenland, the tariffs and the trade tensions, the Davos speech, I think is big. And then next week we've got the FOMC. But from what I see, not much expectations of a rate cut next week. So we won't be back until Friday, unless there's something big that happens. I'm traveling this afternoon and tomorrow morning. I'm going to be out of the office, but I will be back, and then we'll get something out on Friday. Please let us know any questions, comments. We can help at all. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.